Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Surfer's Journey. Today's episode is all about analysing some footage from a recent point of view surf session. I'm going to break down some of the key learning points from this session and hopefully you guys can take something away from that. And guys, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe now so you can stay up to date with all of my latest videos and tutorials. And you can also follow us on Instagram at The Surfer's Journey. But let's get into today's video. Do you guys ever feel like when you're out in the surf, you see the best surfers getting the best waves? Well, that doesn't happen by mistake. They know exactly what wave to catch, and they know exactly where to take off on that wave. By taking off on the correct spot on a wave, you'll maximize your turning potential on that wave. And by setting yourself up for success from takeoff, you'll be able to form the best maneuvers possible on that wave. And this video aims to break that down for you so that you can catch the best waves every surf and be that guy who's catching the best waves. Now obviously every surf session is different, and the best waves on one day will be different to the best waves the next day. And on this particular day, the right-handers were the best waves, and the conditions were very peaky, which meant that knowing how to read the waves was really important in making sure you got the best wave and you took off on the best spot. And you can see what I was looking for here was the steepest part of that wave. I want to take off directly on the peak. And by doing that, it's going to allow me to get more speed, and it's going to put me into a position to surf in the pocket on these sections. When we look down the line, we're looking for sections, and sections can come in many forms. They can be steep or they can be fat. But regardless of the section, we want the most speed possible when we go into those sections. More speed equals better turns. In this example, we can see a similar thing happening. As I look down the wave towards the shoulder, I can see that it's a lot flatter there. I'm not going to get as much speed when I take off, so I want to be here where the peak is. You can see it's steeper, and that's where I want to take off. I also know that by taking off on the peak, I'm going to be able to drop down and do a bottom turn straight away and set myself up for the next maneuver. But by taking off on the peak and looking down the line as you take off, you'll get a rough idea of what that first section is going to do for you. This means you might drop down and do a bottom turn, or you might choose to generate some speed down the line. It's always different, but you need to get in the habit of looking down the line, reading what the wave's doing, and preparing yourself for what you're going to do. In addition to taking off on the peak, we can actually take off behind the peak like this. By taking off behind the peak, it can set you up for a more critical maneuver once you get around that first section. As you can see here, I had a steeper section, and that's generally why you would choose to take off behind the peak. Taking off behind the peak is more challenging, but it's something to consider for a more critical first maneuver. Now for many surfers, looking at this wave at a glance, you'd think this looks fat, slow, and it looks like a closeout. But because I surf beach breaks a lot, I know that this wave has a habit of doubling up on the inside, and I could tell that this was about to happen on this wave. You can see as this wave starts to hit that inside sandbar that it's starting to change shape. And in these kind of situations, it can stand up and be steeper, and those sections will be more powerful and give you more speed once you get into them. So really, we want to chase that double up. Those waves generally are the best for speed, power, and better quality sections. You're not always going to be in that position where you can take off on the peak. If we look at this wave here, you can see it had already broken from quite far out the back, and ideally I would have been on it out there, but it doesn't always work out that way, and sometimes that's fine. But consequently, this wave didn't really offer that much because the good part had already been and gone. However, this isn't always the case. Sometimes, like I mentioned earlier, these waves will double up on the inside. You can see the peak of that wave had just broken there, and I'm going to take off on the shoulder, which is less than ideal because I'm going to miss out on a couple of good sections. But in this case, the wave doubled up on the inside. You can see here, as I'm about to perform this bottom turn, I had a nice section, and better sections mean you can do better turns. So on steeper sections, you may choose to do more critical maneuvers like carves or snaps. And as it gets fatter, that's when we can do a slower, more drawn out roundhouse cutback. This can bide our time while that wave continues to grow and double up once again. And you can see this wave has done that for me. And on the inside, it's given me a nice section here to perform a re-entry on. Of course, it's up to you what maneuvers you do on what sections, but these are just some rough guides that work well for me. Your positioning and wave selection will have a massive influence over how good a surfer you become, so make sure you invest time catching the best waves and taking off on the best spot possible.
Guys, thanks for watching the video today. I hope that breaking down this point of view footage has helped your surfing in some way, and it's helped you understand some of these concepts from a surfer's perspective. Remember to like the video and comment below to let me know what other videos you'd like to see. Thanks guys, catch you in the water.
The Surfer's Journey now has a range of apparel available, from beanies to t-shirts to hats and coffee cups. For more information on how you can place your order, email thesurfersjourney@gmail.com. Be sure to visit The Surfer's Journey and check out some of our other videos, surfing tutorials from point of view, from the air and from the beach, and detailed, honest board reviews. You can also follow us on Instagram where we post hints and tips.